My child, stop for a moment and listen carefully to me. Do not allow distraction to pull your attention away, because what I am about to say carries the weight of heaven upon it. Tonight is not like the other nights you have survived. This is not another emotional moment that will disappear by morning. This is not another temporary feeling that fades when the world becomes loud again. Tonight, I am speaking directly into the deepest place of your soul, and I need you to hear me with your whole heart, because I will not knock twice. The door is open before you now, and you must decide whether you will walk through it or remain standing outside while the moment passes forever. You have prayed for signs. You have cried out for answers. You have begged me to show you whether I still see you, whether I still care, whether your life still carries purpose in my eyes. And now I answer you. I answer you tonight, not tomorrow, not months from now, not after another season of pain, but now. This very moment was arranged long before you arrived here. Before your eyes opened to this message, before your hands touched the screen, before your heart began racing with something you cannot explain, I already knew this night would come. I brought you here because heaven refused to stay silent any longer. My beloved child, I have watched you grow tired. I have seen the weight pressing against your spirit every single day. I saw you pretending to be strong while your heart quietly broke in places nobody could see. I heard the questions you never spoke aloud because you were afraid nobody would understand them. I watched you lie awake at night carrying fears so heavy that even breathing felt difficult. I know about the tears that fell in silence. I know about the disappointment you tried to hide behind your smile. I know about the moments you almost gave up completely. And still, through all of it, my hand never left your life. But tonight is different. Tonight, I am no longer whispering gently in the background while you continue delaying the things I have called you toward. Tonight, I stand before you with urgency in my voice because the season around you is changing faster than you realize. There are moments in life that never return once they pass. There are doors that remain open only for an appointed time. And there are divine opportunities that require immediate obedience before they disappear beyond reach. This is one of those moments, my child. That is why your spirit feels restless right now. That is why your heart feels pulled toward these words. You are sensing the seriousness of this hour. The enemy hoped you would scroll away before hearing this. Darkness prayed you would become distracted before my voice could reach your heart. The forces working against your destiny wanted this night to pass like every other night, empty and forgotten. But I would not allow it. I interrupted your routine because your future is standing at a crossroads. One path leads toward the life I prepared for you before the foundations of the world were laid. The other path leads toward another cycle of delay, fear, hesitation, and regret. And I say this with love, not condemnation. You cannot remain between both forever. For too long you have stood near the door without walking through it. You asked me to open it, and I did. You prayed for change, and I sent opportunities. You cried out for healing, and I stretched my hand toward your brokenness. You begged me to remove the chains around your life, and I gave you the strength to break free. Yet every time the moment arrived to move forward, fear whispered louder than faith. Doubt convinced you to hesitate. Past wounds convinced you that disappointment would happen again. And little by little, hesitation became a prison around your spirit. But tonight I have come to shake you awake. I did not choose you to remain trapped in cycles that keep draining your joy. I did not create you to spend your entire life standing outside blessings you were meant to enter. I formed you with purpose, I breathed destiny into your soul. I placed gifts inside you that the world still has not fully seen. And now the hour has come for you to stop looking backward at the pain that almost destroyed you and start walking toward the future I prepared for you. Listen closely to me now, because this is important. The door standing before you is not only about success or material blessings. This door is deeper than that. It is the entrance into freedom. Freedom from the fear that has controlled your thoughts. Freedom from the guilt that keeps haunting your memories. Freedom from the voices that told you that you were not enough. Freedom from the loneliness that made you believe nobody cared about your soul. I am calling you into a new season where peace will replace torment, where clarity will replace confusion, where purpose will replace emptiness, and where my presence will become more real to you than ever before. Yet I must speak honestly to you tonight. If you continue ignoring my voice, if you continue delaying obedience, if you continue allowing fear to decide your future, then you will watch moments disappear that were meant to transform your life. I do not say this to frighten you. I say it because I love you too deeply to remain silent while destiny waits at your door. There are blessings attached to obedience. There are breakthroughs connected to surrender. There are miracles waiting on the other side of trust. And there are some doors that do not stay open forever. My precious child, you have survived storms that should have destroyed you. You have endured betrayals that nearly shattered your heart. You have carried burdens so heavy that nobody around you truly understood how exhausted you became. Yet even now, after everything you have faced, you are still here listening to my voice. Do you understand what that means? It means I preserved you for this night. It means the enemy could not erase your purpose. It means your story is not over. It means heaven still has plans for your life that darkness failed to stop. I know there are moments when you feel unworthy of this calling. I know you sometimes look at your mistakes and wonder why I still pursue you with such relentless love. But hear me clearly tonight. My choice concerning you is not changed. I knew every failure before you committed it. I knew every weakness before you were born. I knew every battle you would fight. And still, I chose you. Still, I called you. Still, I opened this door before you. My love for you is not fragile. My mercy toward you has not expired. My plans for you are still alive. So now I ask you one final question before this night moves forward. Will you trust me enough to walk through the door I opened? Will you release the fear that has kept you standing still? Will you let go of the old pain that continues pulling your spirit backward? Will you finally believe that the life ahead of you is greater than the suffering behind you? Because tonight, my child, I am seriously calling you. Not casually, not temporarily, not emotionally. I am calling you with the authority of heaven and the love of a father who refuses to let his child remain lost in darkness. The door is open before you now. Walk through it, or watch the moment pass. This is not another warning. This is my final move. And I chose you for this night. Comment amen. My soul belongs to Jesus if he's your first and forever love. My beloved child, this interruption is not accidental. I know you were not expecting this moment. I know your mind was occupied with many other thoughts, many other worries, many other responsibilities pressing against your heart. Yet here you are, reading these words while something deep inside you feels stirred in a way you cannot fully explain. That feeling is not random. It is my presence reaching toward you. It is my spirit calling your soul to attention, because tonight I refuse to remain silent while your destiny stands waiting at the edge of change. You thought this was just another message. You believed this would pass through your eyes like everything else you have seen before. But I tell you now, heaven arranged this exact encounter long before this night began. Before the stars filled the sky above you, before the world around you became quiet, before your tired hands reached for comfort, I already knew this moment would come. I knew the exact second your heart would begin searching for something deeper. I knew that exact hour your spirit would become exhausted from carrying burdens you were never meant to carry alone. And because I knew, I called you here. My child, there are moments in life when I interrupt ordinary routines because a soul is standing too close to losing its direction. There are moments when I step directly into the middle of human distraction, because if I remain quiet any longer, pain will continue convincing my child to live beneath the purpose I created for them. Tonight is one of those moments. I interrupted your scrolling. I interrupted your thoughts. I interrupted your loneliness. I interrupted the silence around you because I need you to hear me clearly before this night ends. You have spent so much time trying to survive that you forgot what it feels like to truly live. Day after day you kept moving forward while secretly carrying exhaustion nobody else noticed. You smiled while hiding battles inside your heart. You spoke kindly to others while your own spirit quietly cried for peace. You continued fighting even after disappointment drained your strength. And slowly, without realizing it, you became used to surviving in pain instead of expecting freedom. But I did not create you merely to survive darkness. I created you to walk in light. I see the heaviness you tried to hide. I see the questions you never ask out loud because you fear there may be no answer. I know about the nights when your thoughts became so loud that sleep felt impossible. I know about the mornings when you woke up already tired before the day even began. I know how many times you wondered if your prayers were disappearing into silence. I know how many moments you looked around at your life and quietly asked yourself, God, where are you? And tonight I answer you directly. I have been here the entire time. Please support our channel. Our work is to bring happiness in your life and devotion to God. And if you want, you can donate to us, given link in description or pinned comment, to show your support. Even when you could not feel me, I was holding you together. Even when your faith became weak, my hand remained strong around your life. Even when you wanted to give up, I continued breathing hope into your spirit, because your story was never meant to end in despair. The enemy tried to convince you that isolation was your future. Fear tried to convince you that disappointment would always follow you. Your past tried to convince you that you would never change. But none of those voices carry authority over your destiny. Only my voice does. And tonight my voice is calling you forward. Listen carefully now, because this is important. The interruption happening in your spirit tonight is not meant to scare you. It is meant to awaken you. For too long you have accepted emotional chains that I never placed upon your life. You became comfortable living beneath your calling because disappointment taught you to expect less from the future. You lowered your expectations to protect yourself from pain. You built emotional walls because betrayal wounded your trust. You guarded your heart so tightly that even my promises struggled to enter the places where fear had taken control. But tonight I am knocking on those hidden places inside you, because I want your freedom more than your fear wants your captivity. My child, the reason this message feels urgent is because the season around you is changing quickly. What worked in your old season cannot follow you into the new one I am preparing. The mindset that kept you emotionally safe yesterday will become a prison tomorrow if you refuse to release it. I am calling you into deeper trust, deeper faith, deeper surrender, and deeper obedience, because the next chapter of your life cannot be entered while you continue holding on to old fears. There are people who ignored my interruptions and later regretted it deeply. There are souls who felt my spirit calling them toward healing, yet they delayed until their hearts became colder. There are people who stood before open doors, but allowed fear to talk them out of walking through them. And little by little, hesitation stole opportunities they once prayed for. I do not want that for you. That is why I am speaking with urgency tonight. I love you too much to watch you remain trapped in cycles that are draining the life out of your spirit. You may not fully understand why your heart feels emotional while reading these words. You may not understand why tears are rising in your eyes or why your chest feels heavy with conviction. But your spirit recognizes my voice. Deep inside, beyond the confusion, beyond the exhaustion, beyond the disappointment, your soul remembers me. That is why something inside you is awakening right now. That is why these words feel personal. Because they are. I am not speaking to crowds at this moment. I am speaking directly to you. I am speaking to the part of you that still hopes despite heartbreak. I am speaking to the wounded places you hide from everyone else. I am speaking to the dreams you buried because waiting became painful. I am speaking to the exhausted version of you that secretly wonders how much longer you can continue carrying all this weight. And I am telling you now, you were never meant to carry it alone. My beloved child, I need you to understand something clearly tonight. Your pain has not disqualified you from my plans. Your failures have not canceled your purpose. Your weakness has not frightened me away from your life. In fact, some of the deepest moments of transformation begin when a soul finally becomes honest about how tired it truly is. I do not reject broken people. I restore them. I do not abandon wounded hearts. I heal them. I do not walk away from those trapped in darkness. I enter the darkness and lead them back into light. That is what this interruption is about. I came to interrupt the lies you have believed about yourself. I came to interrupt the hopelessness trying to settle inside your spirit. I came to interrupt the cycle of fear that keeps convincing you nothing will ever change. I came to interrupt the emotional exhaustion that has slowly stolen your joy. And most importantly, I came to interrupt the distance that has grown between your heart and mine. Because the truth is, my child, you have been drifting. Not all at once. Not through rebellion or hatred, but through exhaustion, through disappointment, through emotional survival. Little by little, pain made you quieter in prayer. Fear made you hesitant in faith. Waiting made your heart tired. And while you still loved me, part of you stopped expecting miracles. Part of you stopped believing that breakthrough could truly happen for your own life. Tonight I came to awaken that faith again. The atmosphere around your life is shifting even now. What you feel is not imagination. Heaven moves whenever a heart becomes willing to listen again. The chains around your thoughts are beginning to weaken. The heaviness suffocating your spirit is beginning to crack. Light is entering places inside you that have been dark for far too long. But you must not ignore this moment. Do not treat this like another emotional experience that fades tomorrow morning. This is a divine interruption sent to redirect your future. I know you are tired. I know you are carrying questions you cannot answer. I know there are moments when your faith feels weak and your strength feels almost gone. But hear me clearly tonight. I did not bring you this far to abandon you now. The same hand that protected you in past battles is still covering your life today. The same voice that called you before you were born is still speaking your name tonight. The same love that carried you through every storm is still surrounding your future even when you cannot yet see it. So stop running from my voice. Stop hiding behind fear. Stop convincing yourself that you are forgotten. You are not forgotten, my child. You are being called into healing, called into purpose, called into freedom, called into deeper intimacy with me. And this interruption tonight is the beginning of that change. Because before this night ends, something inside you must decide whether you will continue surviving in the same darkness or finally step toward the light I have been holding open before you all along. My precious child, there is something I need you to understand before this night goes any further. Nothing you have suffered escaped my eyes. Not one tear, not one silent cry, not one moment when your heart felt like it was collapsing under the weight of pain. I saw all of it. Even the moments you convinced yourself nobody cared anymore. I was still there watching over you with a love deeper than your understanding. You may have felt abandoned, but you were never alone. You may have felt forgotten, but your name has never left my heart. I know the pain you hide behind your smile. I know how many times you answered people with "I'm fine" while your soul silently screamed for relief. I know how exhausting it became pretending to be strong when inside you felt completely drained. There were nights when you sat alone with thoughts so heavy that even breathing felt difficult. There were moments when disappointment hit you so deeply that you questioned whether your life would ever change. And still, even then, I stayed beside you. Do you remember those nights when tears fell from your eyes while the room around you stayed silent? You looked around and saw nobody standing beside you. You felt isolated. You felt invisible. You felt like your pain was too deep for anyone to understand. But my child, I was there in every second of it. I collected every tear you cried. I listened to every whisper that left your trembling lips. Even the prayers you could not fully speak because your heart hurt too much to form words reached me completely. I know about the betrayal that changed something inside you. I know about the trust that was broken. I know how painful it felt when people you loved became the source of your wounds instead of your comfort. I watched you give your heart sincerely only to feel rejected, ignored, or misunderstood. I saw how those experiences slowly taught you to guard yourself emotionally because you became afraid of being hurt again. Little by little, your heart stopped expecting kindness because pain convinced you disappointment was safer than hope. Say amen. Your promises are good if you're standing on His word. But my beloved child, the actions of broken people never change my love for you. Even when others walked away, I remained. Even when others failed you, I stayed faithful. Even when your heart closed itself off in fear, my arms remained open toward you. I never looked at your pain with impatience. I never became tired of hearing your cries. I never reached a moment where I decided you were too damaged to restore. My mercy toward you never weakened, not even during your darkest seasons. I know how tired you became from carrying emotional burdens nobody else could see. Some wounds were invisible to everyone around you, yet they affected every part of your life. You laughed while secretly fighting anxiety. You smiled while battling fear. You kept helping others while your own spirit quietly collapsed from exhaustion. And because people could not physically see your pain, they assumed you were stronger than you truly felt inside. But I knew the truth. I saw the heaviness pressing against your soul every single day. My child, there were moments when you almost gave up completely. Moments when you questioned whether life would ever feel peaceful again. Moments when you became so emotionally overwhelmed that even simple tasks felt difficult. The future looked uncertain. The waiting became painful. The silence around your prayers became confusing. And slowly, hopelessness started whispering dangerous lies into your thoughts. Lies telling you nothing would ever improve. Lies convincing you that your tears did not matter. Lies making you wonder if I was still listening at all. But hear me clearly tonight, every tear mattered to me. Every cry touched my heart. Every painful moment carried meaning beyond what you understood at the time. I never wasted your suffering. Even when you could not see it, I was using those difficult seasons to shape your spirit in ways comfort never could. Pain taught you compassion. Waiting taught you endurance. Brokenness taught you dependence on me. And though the process wounded your heart deeply, it also created strength inside your soul that darkness could not destroy. You must understand this, my child. The enemy wanted your pain to convince you that you were abandoned. That was the real battle happening around your life. Not only the suffering itself, but the lies attached to it. Darkness wanted you to believe you were unloved. Unwanted. You're gone. It wanted your disappointment to separate you emotionally from my presence. It wanted your exhaustion to silence your faith. But despite every attack against your spirit, you are still here tonight listening to my voice. That means the enemy failed to destroy the purpose I placed inside you. I know there were days when you could not even explain your sadness. You carried heaviness without understanding why. Your heart felt restless. Your thoughts became overwhelming. Fear settled over your mind like a storm cloud you could not escape. Sometimes you blamed yourself for struggling emotionally. Sometimes you felt guilty for being tired. But my child, I never looked at your weakness with condemnation. I looked at you with compassion. I understood the battles you were fighting even when nobody else recognized them. And still, despite all the pain, you continued surviving. You continued waking up each morning even when your heart felt empty. You continued trying even after disappointment drained your strength. You continued searching for hope even when darkness surrounded your thoughts. That strength did not come from you alone. I was carrying you through moments you thought would completely break you. Every time you survived something that should have destroyed your peace, my hand was there holding you together. There were also moments when you blamed yourself for things beyond your control. You replayed failures repeatedly inside your mind. You wondered whether different choices could have prevented certain heartbreaks. Regret became a heavy chain around your spirit. But my beloved child, I never called you to live imprisoned by your past. Yes, mistakes were made. Yes, painful choices happened. But your failures were never stronger than my grace. My mercy is greater than your regrets. And tonight I am asking you to stop carrying guilt that I've already paid for with my love. You have spent too much time punishing yourself emotionally for wounds I wanted to heal. You became comfortable carrying sadness because you feared what vulnerability might cost you again. But healing cannot fully enter a heart that refuses to release the pain. That is why I am speaking to you so personally tonight. I need you to understand that I did not preserve your life merely for you to continue surviving in sorrow. I preserved you because restoration still belongs to your future. My child, the tears you cried in secret were not signs of weakness to me. They were proof that your heart was still alive despite everything trying to harden it. Every tear carrying prayers deeper than words. Every breakdown became an invitation for my presence to come closer to your wounded spirit. And though you did not always feel me during those moments, I was near. Closer than your breath. Closer than your fears. Closer than the pain trying to consume your thoughts. Tonight I need you to stop pretending you are unaffected by everything you survived. Stop minimizing your pain. Stop acting like your wounds do not matter. I know what happened to you. I know how deeply certain words hurt you. I know how certain experiences changed the way you see yourself. I know how loneliness affected your spirit. And I am not asking you to ignore those wounds. I am asking you to finally place them into my hands instead of carrying them alone any longer. Because this next season of your life cannot be entered while your heart remains chained to old sorrow. The open door before you requires healing. It requires trust. It requires surrender. And most importantly, it requires you to believe that your painful seasons did not mean I abandoned you. They meant I was preparing you for a future where your testimony would help others survive their own darkness. One day you will look back at these painful seasons and realize I was holding you together the entire time. You will understand why certain people had to leave. You will understand why some doors closed. You will understand why waiting became necessary. And you will finally see that even in your lowest moments, heaven never stopped fighting for your future. So tonight, my precious child, let these words settle deeply into your heart. I saw every hidden tear. I heard every silent cry. I remained beside you through every lonely night. And after everything you survived, I am still calling you forward into healing, freedom, and restoration. Your pain was never the end of your story. It was only the place where my mercy began reaching for you in a deeper way than ever before. My beloved child, I know there were many moments when my silence confused you. You prayed with tears in your eyes and waited for answers that did not come when you expected them. You asked me to move quickly, yet days turned into months, and months turned into long seasons where nothing around you seemed to change. During those moments, fear whispered dangerous thoughts into your mind. It told you I had forgotten you. It told you your prayers were too small for heaven to notice. It told you your waiting meant rejection. But tonight I need you to understand something clearly. My silence was never abandonment. My silence was preparation. You judged the delay by what your eyes could see. But I was working in places your human understanding could not reach. While you cried because doors remained closed, I was protecting you from entering rooms that would have destroyed your peace. While you begged me to speed things up, I was removing hidden dangers from your path. While you wondered if I still cared, I was carefully arranging circumstances that would one day reveal why the waiting had to happen exactly the way it did. My child, if I had answered some prayers immediately, you would have entered blessings before your spirit was strong enough to carry them. There were things you desired deeply that would have crushed you emotionally if they arrived too soon. I saw dangers you could not see. I saw betrayals hiding behind smiles. I saw traps disguised as opportunities. I saw people who looked safe but secretly carried intentions capable of damaging your future. And because I love you, I delayed certain answers until the timing became right. I know that waiting hurt you. I know there were moments when the silence around your life became so heavy that you wondered if I was even near anymore. You looked at others receiving breakthroughs while your own situation seemed frozen. You watched people move forward when you felt stuck in the same painful place. And slowly, disappointment began speaking louder than hope. You started lowering your expectations because expecting miracles became emotionally exhausting. But my beloved child, heaven was never inactive during your waiting season. While you thought nothing was happening, I was healing wounds inside you that you did not even recognize yet. I was teaching your spirit endurance. I was teaching your heart deeper trust. I was exposing false foundations in your life so they would not collapse later under greater pressure. I was strengthening your discernment because where I am leading you next requires wisdom beyond emotions. The silence you hated was actually protecting the future you prayed for. There are things you do not understand yet about the spiritual battles surrounding your life. The enemy fought hard against your destiny because darkness recognized the calling upon you long before you fully understood it yourself. Some delays happened because unseen warfare was taking place around doors connected to your future. Some relationships had to collapse because they were secretly attached to your destruction. Some opportunities disappeared because they carried danger hidden beneath their appearance. And though your heart broke during those seasons, heaven saw the bigger picture. You cried over closed doors without realizing those doors were protecting you from greater pain. You mourned people leaving your life without understanding they could not follow you into the future I prepared for you. You questioned why certain plans failed while I quietly redirected your steps toward something far greater. My child, if only you could see how many disasters my hand prevented while you were accusing me of silence. There were also moments when I became quiet because your spirit needed maturity before receiving the next instruction. Not every answer can be given to an unprepared heart. Some revelations require spiritual growth. Some blessings require emotional healing first. Some assignments require deeper surrender. And because I saw your entire future, I refused to release certain things prematurely. I would rather allow temporary disappointment than permanent destruction. You asked me many times, why does it feel like you are distant from me? But the truth is, I was often closest during the seasons you felt me the least. Human emotions are not always accurate measurements of my presence. Sometimes I work most deeply in hidden ways your feelings cannot immediately recognize. Just because you could not hear my voice clearly did not mean I stopped speaking. Often I was teaching you how to trust me beyond emotions, beyond visible signs, beyond temporary circumstances. My child, you became so focused on the pain of waiting that you did not notice how much stronger your spirit was becoming. The version of you reading these words tonight is not the same person you were before those difficult seasons began. Pain changed you. Waiting changed you. Loneliness changed you. But through all of it, I was shaping something powerful inside your soul. The person you are becoming now carries greater wisdom, greater compassion, greater discernment, and greater spiritual depth than before the suffering began. I know there were nights when you became angry with me. Nights when frustration filled your heart because you could not understand why heaven felt quiet while your life felt overwhelming. But I was never offended by your honesty. I understood your pain. I understood the exhaustion behind your questions. And even when confusion clouded your faith, my love toward you remained steady. I never walked away simply because you struggled emotionally. I stayed beside you patiently, waiting for the moment your heart would be ready to hear the deeper truth behind the silence. And now that moment has arrived. Tonight I am revealing to you that the waiting season is ending. The silence that once confused you is about to make sense in ways you never expected. The pieces of your story that felt painful and disconnected are beginning to align into a greater picture. Soon you will realize that heaven delayed certain things because your breakthrough required exact timing. Not late timing. Not forgotten timing. Perfect timing. The enemy wanted the delay to destroy your faith completely. Darkness hoped waiting would make you emotionally numb and spiritually distant. But despite every painful season, your spirit still searched for me. Even when your prayers became weak, you still whispered my name. Even when disappointment surrounded your thoughts, something inside you refused to stop believing completely. That small remaining hope inside your soul became the reason heaven continued fighting for your future. Type Amen. This word is mine if today feels like confirmation. And share this video.